Alrighty, welcome to episode 256 of Backpacking America. Today we're talking about the Writers Guild of America going on strike and taking on Hollywood and the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. Uh, went on strike over and over. Yes. So I just wanted to make sure I have my notes right. I was like, wait a minute, are they going to war with another union? No, that's crazy. So anyway, the WGA is going to war with Hollywood over very reasonable causes. So what does this strike mean, right? This strike means that your shows that usually come out in the fall probably won't come out in the fall because all the writers are not going to be writing because they are on strike. And I believe it is actually rivaling their second biggest strike, which occurred in 2007, 2008, which lasted 99 days. And this one is approaching its 90th. So why is this occurring, right? It's occurring because there is a lack of agreement on a new contract. That's the number one cause of any contention between a union and an employer. There's also poor compensation for writers. So residuals and, the advent of streaming, you know, are being affected. So usually what happens is when writers write for television or they write for movies, every time that movie or television show gets paid, writers get a residual check. So it's like if you're investing in the stock market and you get quarterly returns off of your investments, that's what happens with writers. It depends on how often the show is played, what time it plays, and a bunch of other shit that determines how much you get in a check. Some checks could be $300, some checks could be $1,000, some checks could be $3. It really depends on who's doing what for the advertising, the marketing, and the billing. So that's one of the causes. The other causes, and the other goal really, is to increase funding and job security for writers. So higher payouts on residuals, higher payouts on salaries, and just more protection for workers because there's an advent in the use of artificial intelligence in the writing process. So a lot of writers are very afraid that their jobs are going to be replaced by artificial intelligence. AI is a serious problem. I've talked about it multiple times on this show. Since the first time I talked about artificial intelligence about 5 months ago, we're now seeing artificial intelligence history channels, artificial intelligence entertainment channels. We're seeing TikTok live people emulate AI because they think that it's a better form to get attention and money. We see people using AI for YouTube shorts, Instagram shorts and reels, um, TikTok shorts. So it's basically, taking over the market where you can have some guy in Latvia creating like a fucking uh, you know, a TikTok account or YouTube account based solely on AI, where they can talk about news, politics, all this stuff, and just regurgitate stuff for views and quick cash. So that's what writers are really concerned about is that they're worried that the motion picture company is going to start taking all of their scripts, all of their hard work, put it into Chat GPT and Google AI and all this other shit, and then pump out scripts and for movies and plays and TV shows and short films and all this other adaptations, and then just hiring one or two writers to just tweak it to make sure it doesn't sound like shit. Because AI, it's not perfect, but it's close enough to perfect, and that's concerning to the writer and to the creative process, right? It's also they also want to increase the size of writers' rooms to make sure that there's not you know, i- a lot of burden placed on the writers because when you're writing and there's six people and you need to each put in like 80 hours a week, it can get crazy. Um, Writing is no joke. It is a very difficult and laborious love, if you will. And it's certainly not for everyone. It can be for everyone, but it is not for everyone. So, this strike includes 11,500 workers, and it is the largest shutdown of the motion picture industry since COVID-19 and the original WGA strike in 2007 to 2008. Other than that, there hasn't really been major strikes in Hollywood for a very long time. So this comes as a shock. And, some people say, oh, they're just being lazy. They're just doing that. They're just doing this. You know, the people that produce your favorite cable shows, and this is more towards the boomers because people in my generation don't watch television really. Um, they usually watch stuff on Netflix, which sometimes isn't affiliated with Hollywood. Netflix has its own studios. Or they, watch shows like mine where I come on at 6 o'clock every night and I record my shit, go live, and then you listen to it, you know? I don't watch any TV. I do not have a cable box in my room, you know? I barely watch YouTube as it is. Or like I'll be on TikTok and I'll scroll while I eat, and that's my, visual content for the day is when I just watch TikTok for like 20 minutes. So, I don't watch that stuff, but I know the boomers are going to complain about it and they're going to be like, "Oh my God, why isn't New Girl on?" I don't even know if New Girl's still a show anymore, but oh my God, why isn't New Girl on? It's October. And it's like, well, that's because the writers are on strike and they wanted better wages, but you belittled them saying, "Oh, they should be grateful they're working in top motion picture or they get paid too much." No, they don't. They really don't get paid a lot. Writers and anyone in the creative field do not get paid a lot of money unless they own a business. Like I make more money on my own with less hours of work than I did when I worked for one company. I can work for multiple people as my own entity now, which is Barone Media Solutions Incorporated, and I, don't have to, I can work for multiple different companies and I win. Like I could work for multiple different companies and I can make more money by working for other people as myself than I can make it working one job, in a company. And that's the thing with the creative process. If you're working for someone as a creative, you will not make money. You will get experience to go out on your own eventually, but you are not going to make enough money. And it shouldn't be that way because you should be able to be secure and stable if you work for fucking Paramount Pictures or, Warner Brothers or Disney. You should be able to be fully secure and safe and the employee should be taken care of. This is a very trying time in, the American economy. And it's very dangerous for a lot of people right now that are living paycheck to paycheck. Even with professional jobs, it's still tight. And they're stressful jobs. Writers have to go through a process where they'll write a script, or if you work in a newspaper, you write a newspaper, and it's like, oh, that's great, that's garbage, redo it, and then you redo it, and you redo it, and you redo it, and it's a lot of stress because you got to meet deadlines within a week, maybe even less than a week, like 3 days, 2 days, even one day sometimes. And you got to produce a lot in such a short amount of time. And it's not like setting up, at least for me, right? Like it's easier for me to produce, like if someone sat me down and was like, all right, we need you to produce 10 podcast episodes a day. I'd be like, all right, that's cool. I could do that. I 100% could do that. Um, I don't want to because, I have other things to do, but if someone paid me to do it and was like, "Yo, like, if you like I'm talking about like for myself, but if, a client was like, "Yo, we need to do like 10 episodes today." I'd be like, "Okay, no problem. We'll do this, that." Usually what I do is I have my clients do 5 podcast episodes a day. We write out general concept and then, we do that. For myself, for my actual podcast, I have too many clients, so I can't do that for myself. But for my clients, I can. So, I usually, I'll make my clients record 5 episodes in a sitting. We come up with an idea, we produce it, we get guests together, at the beginning of the month, and then we execute the plan throughout the month. We execute it. So, for me, it's easy, but and for writers, it's probably, easy too, because that's what they're familiar with, but it's a lot of work for them. And because writing is much different than talking. Writing, at least for me, is more laborious, where it's like, oh my God, like, how am I going to say this? How am I going to say that? Does the punctuation belong here? Does it not belong here? If I put a quote here as opposed to here, how will that make it sound? It's a lot more technical and more niche when it comes to writing. So I give a lot of respect to writers out there, especially to the people in the motion picture industry where they actually have to channel. It's not just writing a report or a newspaper or something like that. You're writing um you're writing like creative story. So now you have to like keep the creative image in line, the company image in line, and meet a deadline. So and then you have to face editor scrutiny. So it becomes very difficult very quickly for those people, and they deserve to be compensated because it's such a stressful and high strung job. Um, Personally, I recommend um not shitting on these people, whether you listen to cable or not, these people are doing very good work. And that kind of brings me to the next point, where it's like cable and traditional media, legacy media is dead. Um, I've said this multiple times on my show. I've said this multiple times on other people's shows. I say this all the time to my clients. And It's dead. Allaccess.com is out of business. It on August 15th, that's their last day on online. They're done. That was the number one spot traditionally for radio and voiceover people to come together to talk about the industry and find work. It's gone. It's going out of business. They can't get the ad space. Radio stations are closing down around the country. We have radio stations that are losing hundreds of thousands of dollars. We have radio station companies such as iHeartRadio and Odyssey that are penny stocks now, or a dollar away from being a penny stock. The last time I checked iHeart's stock price, or maybe it was Odyssey's, I can't remember. One of them was $6, the other one was $4 a share. Radio is gone. I wouldn't be surprised if the movie industry seems to be doing all right with streaming, but physical theater attendance is not as high as it used to be. It's starting to see a resurgence, especially with Barbenheimer, Barbie and Oppenheimer coming out at the same time. That seemed to do a lot for the motion pictures. Marvel does a lot for people coming into movie theaters. Um, but movie theaters are not what they used to be. The mom and pop movie theater is very rare. They're now these big conglomerates like AMC or Island 16 or, fucking Regal Cinemas. Those are like the big conglomerates. And it's just very I don't even think Island 16 is a big conglomerate. I think that's honestly like just a Long Island thing. But so scratch that one. I need to do research on that. Don't quote me. But like big corporations take over, the movies, the movie, what the hell is it? The movie studios, I just said it, the movie theaters. So, the mom and pop era is gone. The local, maybe for the local town, there's like, Jim Bob and, his family that runs, the local movie theater, maybe employs a couple of local kids. But other than that, there's not really that many of those around anymore. They're kind of a novelty. Um, so that's going away. Streaming is the big thing. These guys, in the industry right now, they're like, yo, streaming is killing us because, you know, there's so many, they're not getting paid enough for the residuals and the way that the contracts work with like the picture studios and the streaming companies, it's like kind of like cutting them out of it's cutting the writers out of the process a lot and cutting into their paychecks when you would think it would be the opposite. But what they do is the companies have this trick they use where after 90 days, I think you qualify for like residuals or some type of additional benefit um, from the movie companies. And what they'll do is like before the 90 days are up, they'll fire you or they'll cut your pay or your hours or something to make you ineligible to collect a lot of the residuals and additional pay you would get from streaming services. That way it saves these companies millions of dollars because they have to be like at war with the streaming companies. They can't make it, you know, incentivized. Now I'm not defending the companies either, but this is the thing that legacy media has to do. Legacy media cannot compete with new media, with independent media, with free media. It can't compete. There's a reason radio is dying and podcasts are thriving. There is an absolute reason why. And podcasters have adapted already before twice before radio even adapted once. And here's how they did it. Podcasting started as online radio stations or individual MP3s being uploaded to a website. That was the first iteration of podcasts. That came out in the early 2000s, definitely around 2008. Then what happened was Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Spotify became one of the first places where people could access podcasts. There's smaller companies like Podbean, um, you know, uh, uh, and some other smaller ones that people used to get their podcasts. And then, Spotify was like, "Yo, we'll be the podcast hub. We're gonna monopolize podcasts." A music company, a music-based platform was like, "You know what? Fuck it. We're gonna have podcasts on, and we're gonna tailor it so we could be podcast centered as well." And then they ended up buying Anchor, which used to be a free podcast hosting platform. They bought them out and brought all those podcasts with them. So Spotify wants to be, the main place where you go get your podcast. Then Apple was like, yo, we're going to have Apple Podcasts. And then Google was like, we're going to have Google Podcasts. And then, all these other companies, right, coming out with their own podcast platform. So audio, right? Podcasting and typically was an audio-based thing. It was only audio. And then people started to do video. So what happened was YouTubing, right? YouTube restructured in 2015 and 2016, and they became stricter with their content, and a lot of content creators felt stifled. So they're like, "Fuck, well, we really like the YouTube content, but we don't feel safe to create on YouTube because their content was raunchy, controversial, and just against the guidelines of YouTube, because even if like me, I'm saying fuck shit, all this bullshit, right? And that was really shunned against on YouTube, and that can actually get you into some trouble with that. And there's also copyright problems and all this other shit that YouTube would bust a lot of creators with. You couldn't even stream like video games. It's at one point with guns in them because it was seen as promoting violence. So what a lot of content creators did was they still had their cameras and such. So what they did was they just recorded their cameras. They turned on their cameras and they turned on their microphones and they made a podcast and that's how it was born. So now you have like and then they would upload it on Facebook, Instagram, and then Spotify made it so that way you could upload um videos to, their platform as well. And what a lot of people do is like me, what I do is I say, "Fuck it," and I just upload to YouTube, and then to Twitch, and to Facebook. So, a lot of these guys too, they came to YouTube and just uploaded their podcast to YouTube, and to websites, and to Instagram for Instagram Reels, and Facebook Reels, and YouTube Shorts, and, TikTok. So, a lot of podcasting now is video centered because what people realized is that when you put video, right, and you cut the video, you can promote that on all your social medias now. So now and the way the Reels and TikTok works is that, you get to reach so many more people because of how short this is and how, addictive Reels are. So you're getting more screen time and more attention from, people just scrolling through Reels on their phone or through TikTok on their phone or YouTube Shorts on their phone. So you're getting a lot more, you know, user retention and attention and spread by using video. So podcasting, they really developed 3 times, whereas radio never developed once. It's very rare for radio to have video cameras recording a show and then promoting that show on their Instagram accounts or helping jocks, get a camera and understand how all this stuff works so that way their shows are relevant and they can continue reaching up an audience and grow their audience, not just in their local area, but beyond. Some radio companies like Town Square Media, they're trying to be multimedia, but they fucking suck at it. Their idea of multimedia is uploading, basically summaries of the jock shows to their company website, and that's it. That's our multimedia approach. It's fucking dog shit. And I hope Town Square Media is listening to me because it's fucking dog shit. Um, you need something like this where you have people that are like watching you and are like, "Whoa, this guy actually is spitting some facts right now. Let me share this to all my friends and family and put it on my story so people can watch this." So this is like my fucking problem with the industry is that they just don't the legacy media just doesn't understand that when change comes knocking on your door, you need to answer. And preferably, you need to be knocking on change's door and saying, "We're changing shit now, come with me." And that's what podcasting does. Because with us small creators, we can change how we want to do shit. I'm live at 6 o'clock right now. I could change my live time to 9 o'clock. I could change how many times I post a week or a month. It doesn't fucking matter. I have no one over me telling me what I can and can't do. And I can buy new equipment if I want. I don't have to wait for Cheryl from accounting to bitch at the president of the company to be like, "Hey, listen, we should do this because, I think we have the budget." And then the president's like, "No, I don't want to spend that much money. Let's get a lesser piece of equipment that does a shit job." You don't got to deal with all that. It's like, yo, do I want to buy the $800 piece of equipment? Yeah, it'll do the job. Alright, so then that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do the job. So, that's really what we gotta deal with it on a day-to-day basis, is how are we gonna create things and build new things, um, when it comes to us as independent creators because we have all that autonomy to buy and sell and produce freely and creatively without an overseer. We're able to rapidly advance quicker. Whereas all these major conglomerates have shareholders and advertising and fear of losing them. And then you have a president and a vice president and a board of directors and then unions and all this other shit. So it's like the advancement is so slow and painstaking that they can't compete with, 30 different guys all with different podcasts, maybe bullshitting together in a group chat, being like, yo, wouldn't it be cool if we all got together and then like DJ'd this event and we posted it on our like they don't have they are so big they can't move. It's like the big dude in the gym, right? You ever see like one of the big stocky dudes at the gym that's ripped and can bench like 350, try to do a pull up or a push up? He can't. Or he can only do like 3 or 4 and they're super slow, or maybe 5, and like they're painstaking, But someone that's built like me, I could rep out 15 no problem and then do some push-ups after, and I'm chilling. I may not be able to lift as much, but I have more endurance and stamina. And that's the thing. Am I able to, be Fox News and am I Fox News? Can I be Fox News? I mean, I could, but not as one person. I need a whole ass team, and that takes time to build. But because I'm so small, and because I have, um, because I'm a one man operation, and because I have friends and family that want to come on the show and like promote it and stuff, and a loyal follower base, you know, I can last longer than Fox News. I can go farther than Fox News because I'm smaller in um makeup. I don't have an editor. I don't have a board of directors. I don't have um a person over me telling me what I can and can't do. I'm not an employee. I'm a business owner. I'm the president of my company. So I can do whatever the hell I want to do. And I don't have like all these other things trying to influence me. I have me. I am a sole proprietor. So I could do whatever the hell I want. That's what most podcasters are. They can do whatever the hell they want. So this strike is just telling the direction of where legacy media is going, and it is down the fucking toilet. And I cannot wait to watch it go down and burn into a smoldering pile of shit that it has always been. Anyway, this is episode 256 of Backpacking America. It is a pleasure, as always, to be speaking to you guys. And let me know what you think about the episode in the comments on your on Instagram. So it's episode 256, and I will see you guys Monday at 6.